All right, in the last video, I was talking about interrogating the sketch, like trying to make it as good as you can. I was using Photoshop. You know, I moved that little toenail and I moved the hand around. And at any time, I can just hold down Option and go to Layer Merge Visible just to get it all in one layer. And then I can keep working with it. So if this hand I feel is a little too small, I can grab it, I can duplicate it, Command J, I can do Command T, and I can work with it. You know, and just lengthen it a little bit. And because it's on its own layer, right, it might be off a tiny bit. I don't need it to be perfect, but I need to kind of understand what I want. So maybe I want to increase that gap between the two. And it's on a separate layer. I did it as a duplicate. So now I'll get to interrogate it, and I get to ask the question, which one's better? Maybe open up. No, I like it better. Closed. So all of this helps. So what hand is better for the overall shape, the gesture, the idea of pointing to the abs? I think that one is. So this is now what I call my interrogated sketch. And yes, it does work as a maze. I have that layer way down here somewhere. I think it might be this. Move it up to the top. There we go. Yeah, so you see kind of how just having some intention for why your line art is the way it is, with these paths going through, that helped me kind of revisit everything and really improve upon the different phases I tried. All right, so now this is ready. So what am I going to do? I'm just going to save this for myself, save it as a copy. I'll just save it as a JPEG. I don't need to save this big Photoshop file, except for my own, education. But this JPEG, I don't need to post. It's optional, but this is going to be what I try to ink, right? So find it. I think it goes to downloads. There they are. So I'm going to post that as an optional, what I call interrogated sketch variation. And I erased all the AI stuff because you don't want to put too much in Canvas. But you know where it all came from. I was able to show you that. Now the goal is not that this interrogated sketch looks perfectly clean. I don't know why there's all this space. That's what I was trying to get rid of. It's kind of glitching on me. But the goal is for it to have a shape that you're really invested in. You kind of know what the shape is going to be. You don't necessarily need to know what the line art is. Whew, I might just do this. Because I've overloaded Canvas. It's probably by putting that Photoshop one in. So I'm going to start a new one. And the first thing I need is that illustration sketch. So I'm going to put that in. And then I have my optional interrogated sketch. Which you hope improves it. Come on. All right. While I'm waiting for that, I'm going to move that JPEG into my folder. This is the one I posted online. This is now what I call a test file, because this is transitional between programs, and you'll see why. Because I'm going to show you 3 different methods for how to digitally ink, how to get clean vector line art. And I'll see if my canvas recovers. All right, so the first method is going to be opening up your latest version. This is my latest version. I'm just going to flatten it in Photoshop here. Opening it up in Photoshop. And then onion skinning it. And this will feel pretty familiar to things we've done before. So I say, make a new layer. I say, edit, fill, and I fill it with white. And then I take the opacity down on that pretty high. So I'm going to leave it about 75%. Lock that with the padlock. Lock the background by double-clicking and then locking. And now on top of it, this is a new layer. This is where we're going to do our digital inking, which is called line art, or line art layer. So how do you set it up in Photoshop if you're going to do this? This is actually my least preferred way, but it's the way a lot of you would do it on your own. And you can do this in Photopea as well. Now the tool you use is the brush tool, not the pencil ever, because the pencil will always have really chunky pixels. So the brush tool, you want to use solid black on its own layer, and you want to set your brush to be the hard round pressure size brush, and you want to do it with a tablet. Now let's look at your other options. You have the size of the brush and then the hardness. I like to do a hardness that's 100%. That means you're not going to have any softness at all in your brush, like a really clean inking brush. And the size, I like the size to be about the size of a pencil eraser as the circle. But because it's pressure sensitive, that means when I press lightly, it will only fill up a little bit of that. When I press hard, it will fill up all of it. And it's able to go between all of those. Right? So that's a nice free-flowing brush. If you want it to be a technical brush, you would change it to the hard round. And then whatever size you pick, it will only be able to do that size no matter what pressure you use. But I recommend, especially if you're trying to get used to the benefits of the tablet, playing with the hard round pressure size. And then setting it up to be the right kind of weight. So this looks pretty good for me. So then I'm going to erase all of these. I've set up my brush. Now the other option you have with the brush tool, opacity you want 100%, flow you want 100%. Then you have this tool called smoothing. I'm going to set smoothing at 0%, and you're going to see what it does. I'm going to start at the top. You traditionally ink, if you're right-handed, from the top left and like work your way down so you don't smudge. So if I start inking with the tablet, you can see with 0 smoothness, it looks okay. All I have to do is turn that off to see it. But you see how it's a little bumpy? That's because with 0% smoothing, every little jitter I make is going to show in the line art. And it can be tough at certain angles, right, to get it. So we have, and that could be fine. Maybe I want that in the quality of the image. Maybe I want the eyes to always be a little weird. But in this, I'm going for something a little bit more smoother and kind of psychedelic. So instead, I'm going to turn smoothing on, and I'm going to turn it on to the maximum that I ever use it, which is around 60%. Now this will smooth my lines. It will get rid of that jitter, but there is a cost. And to me, it's a pretty high cost, especially when you're doing something that is a varied line weight. So you see how beautiful that looks? Nice and even, right? The cost is you'll notice that your brush will not be able to move as fast. and it won't be as sensitive to your pressure. That's because there's a processing delay, because Photoshop takes a lot of memory to be painting all of these pixels, because we're doing raster line art here. And the higher resolution we're doing it, the more of a delay there's going to be whenever there's any smoothing. What's the upside? Well, the upside is I can do these eyeballs and make them look nice and round. But I can't just dash them off like that. It won't keep up with me. It will lag. All right, the other problem is this is pixel-based, right? Because it's Photoshop. So even before you start inking this way in Photoshop, you want to go to image size and make sure that this is a high resolution. So what should that be? For this project, it would be at least 8 by 10 by at least 350. If not 11 by 14 by 350. So when I increase it there, you see how soft that looks now. Whereas if I do new inking at this higher resolution, it's going to look a lot cleaner. So look at the difference between that line quality, right? Sharp, blurry. Because it's raster-based inking, you have to really pay attention to it. Okay, so that's one way you can digitally ink in Photoshop. That's one method. Then how do we turn that into a vector? Well, what I would do is then save this. So I'll teach you 3 methods for digital inking that are common. The first is you do it in a raster program because you don't know how to use a vector program. And you just make it high resolution and you use the brush tool on its own layer and you make clean line art that way. But it has the drawbacks that I just showed you, kind of the lag and the lots of memory, right? And then you would save it as a PNG like that. The next method is what people often do. They take not an inked composited version like that, but they take their pencil sketch or their rough sketch, and then they make a duplicate of it, and then they use adjustments to try to turn this into inking. And this is actually what I did when I started as a cartoonist in the mid-90s. I was really tentative about inking where I couldn't erase, right? So instead I would just really clean up my pencils and then scan my pencils and then send them to the publications because they were black and white cartoons for newspapers and make them look like inks here. But it took a lot of time because then I used levels and made them black on white, but then I had to go in and I had to do, erase out, clean up. So I'm going to kind of shortcut it here. So let's say this is my inking. And now I'm going to save that, because obviously that's not sufficient for digital inking. But if I save that to my desktop, just as a copy, just as a simple JPEG, and I call this a test file, I can now open this in Adobe Illustrator. So here it is, little test file, open with Adobe Illustrator. Because our goal, your requirement, is somehow to make line art that you control that will be a vector. So you can use Photoshop to try to clean up your pencil sketch with adjustments. But then when you open it in Illustrator, we are going to use Illustrator to trace that raster image, those pixels, into a vector. And it doesn't need to be as clean as when we did logos or symbols, because it's going to have color. We just want it to be line art, right? A lot like how AI would make line art for us. So how do we do it? Now it's open in Illustrator. I use the large selection tool. I click on it just to select the image. Then I go to Properties. And if you don't see Properties, you'll find it under Window and Properties, right? And under Properties, because you've selected a raster file, right? It comes in as an image, not a vector.